La 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 la. Yep. Well, hello and welcome to the skied coverage of the Windmill finals day here from Amsterdam. Tom Stiles and David Price with you all afternoon. And David, we're looking forward to a very exciting set of finals, starting off with the women's. And we've got Switzerland and Germany in front of us. What are we going to look forward to in this particular game?
We've got two very close teams here, having known each other for many years, obviously not just with borders, but with playing together on many club teams. The Germans have had a very strong run up into this final, having played against the Swiss earlier on in the tournament and beating them. And yesterday, really giving it to Team GB to get into the final. So we're now starting with, I think the Germans are starting on offense. And I look forward to a very hotly contested game. And I pass over to Tom, who's doing play-by-play, and I'll be doing the colour.
The Germans starting off with the disc coming from our right to left. And the sunshine here. And the Swiss trying to disrupt their offense, but a big disc goes up straight away, chasing down hard underneath that. Two German players, but the wind has caught the disc, taking it over the top. And a turnover to the Swiss. That's what they will have wanted this early on. Fast-cutting 24 shirt running out there. But good poach in the lane from the Germans, just taking away that option. And a pick has been called. I think it was Fischer, the German player, just stayed where she was after her the person she was marking cleared out. Took that line away. The sun is beating down upon this pitch. The Swiss struggling to make moves away from their own end zone line at the moment. Nice disc, just making a little bit of progress. There's a deep shot available and the disc has gone up. It's going to be chased down hard, but German presence underneath that. Plenty of time to get the hand up, get the disc down, and confident German defense so far.
Yeah, it's the wind, I think, is going to be a big factor in this game. As always, when at Windmill, the stadium does do some very strange things with the wind. I think right now it's going away from the camera, but there we go. Already some flow disc going up behind the German offense.
Fischer moves the disc. Wagner down the line. Lovely flow between the two of them. Harms now with it. Back to Gerner. Very distinctive pink headband. A bit of a disc from Gerner is behind the receiver. Not sure if there was a miscommunication between the two German players, and a sharp disc comes low. Advancing the Swiss now, looking to make this first break of the game into space. As two players going to be chasing that down back of the end zone. It's just out of the back. A little bit too much spice on that one this early in the game. The Swiss not able to capitalise on the two possessions they've managed to take from the Germans so far.
Yeah, some nice offense in the middle of the field there, taking exactly what the Germans were giving them, hitting their unders, but not able to take advantage of that turn, giving now the Germans one more chance to hold their offense. For those of you who've been watching Windmill, so far we have switched sides. We're now facing the stadium, so we can see the beautiful faces of the people that have been playing over this weekend. Just so you're aware, we're the other way around. So we're in the middle of the pitches now.
Anna Gerner with the disc, looking at a high stall count now, looking to break down the line, and manages to find a dump in the back of the end zone, and quickly moves the disc forward and back to Gerner again. Looks down the line. Now there's a cut coming. It's going to be under some pressure though. Great early bid from the Swiss, but keeping it alive. Harms back to Fischer. Fischer around to Kalfus. Gerner, and swings across to the far side now. The German line looking a little bit more assured this time round. Gerner confidently swings it back again. This time the disc has caught in a little bit of wind pressure underneath that. A bobble, 3 times attempted grab from the German team, but it's another turnover to Switzerland. This is their third possession of this opening point of the game. And already we're starting to see an opportunity opening up to create a little bit of momentum. The Germans will be very frustrated that they've not been able to convert any of these 3 opportunities they've had to score their O.
Yeah, I feel like there's a bit of nerves on the field. They're not able to quite get the throws or the breaks in they want, but there was some very glimmers of hope. They were swinging all the way across the field. They took 1 or 2, 3 swings to get from the open to the break side. A foul has been called on the play, and I think we're back in German hands.
I'm quite sure what the foul was about. The wind took that disc across the top of the players. There was some clattering of bodies on the way through, and obviously something has resulted in that. The Swiss dab it back in. Kalfus, the 16 shirt, looking at Gerner as the dump, and she finds her now. So losing ground and swings across to the far side. Wagner, and looking down the line, looking to jab it across to the middle now. The number 8 shirt for Germany. A slight reset, coming back again, happy to keep the disc moving. And this is a disc across to Gerner again in the 17 shirt. And another handling error, receiving that disc. Caught it slightly off the center of the disc, fumbled around just as it arrived to her. We've been throwing around on this Astro pitch this morning, and it makes for a very difficult situation to catch on these discs. There's thermals coming up from the pitch. There's also quite a stiff crosswind. Laser disc from the Swiss players, moving it sweetly around the back of this handling line, and now looking for an upfield pass, which they find. Grach bids, huge grab from Constance Rancor, getting horizontal there, but the disc is turned over once more. The 4th attempt for the Germans to score their opening point of the game. Back with theirs because they started on 0, but so far a scrappy affair in this opening point. Great spectacle for the neutral. Gerner once more, looking at the deep shot, nothing available, coming under now. And pressure from the Swiss again, just trying to disturb the flow that the Germans are so famous for. Gerner looking to poke it forward. That's nice cutting from Wagner. She's available. Also, it's Kalfus there. Down the line, pressure from the Swiss. Again, every pass is being pressured by the Swiss defenders. Brilliant work in this opening point of the game. Inches from the line now. Wagner with the disc, looking to put it in for the opening point of the match. Going to be forced back again. Not available. Floaty across the top. Could have been anywhere. Gerner comes down with it. Germany open up their account, but the Swiss are celebrating after that pressure that they applied to the German offense. They know they could, if they can keep that up, they're going to get turns and they're going to get points.
Yeah, like Tom mentions, we were speaking to the captains beforehand, and the Swiss specifically said they wanted to try and disrupt the German offense, and I think they've started that in this first point. They weren't letting them have their first option. They were having to go to the second or third option, and their current game plan is coming off. But let's see if they can hold up that sort of pressure, because that's very tiring sort of defense. Is hard to play for a whole game.
Yeah, they've got a big squad here, this German team. Okay. This here. In my bag there.
It won't connect your camera.
In my bag there.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to find the rosters for the commentators on the far side of the pitch. And the Swiss with their first offensive point of their own. Oh, and pressure straight away from the... No, it's going to be called. 34 shirt of Laura Niederhuis. The Swiss sending it deep. Going to be pressure underneath this, but it's going to be, oh, beautifully read second time round. Not a chance for Angela Ullmann. Is there going to be a call on that? Because it looked like it was floating in the air long enough for Ullmann to get it had she been on her feet, but she'd been knocked off balance by the German player already. David, what your view?
Yeah, it's a tough call, because I think what the call will be about is whether she could have got another bid. The disc was macked and then still in the air. Did she then have the ability to go get it again or not? It's a very, I think, for me, it's quite a soft call, but it's up to the players. We'll let them decide, and it'll potentially come back.
so flaky. So conversation going on for some time down here. The captains have got involved, trying to make sure that everything's being resolved amicably. And Ullman, the disc is going to go back to the throw. Marking for Germany is Kusik. Meryl Kusik, who was talking to us earlier about the team. And it's Hauser for the Swiss. Sidearm to the middle of the pitch. It's a nice disc, keeping the flow going, but the Germans making hard cuts on their defense. And that's not a good disc. Emma Phillips clearing that up, the 19 shirt for Germany. And swings it across to the far side, 59. And the Germans in their own end zone with a big deep shot coming up now. There's going to be pressure on this. The disc is running towards the sideline. And Hinkst taking a step out as she caught that one. That's a turnover for the Swiss.
Yeah, the Germans got a bit trapped there. I think they could have brought the disc forward once they got the turn. But now we see the Swiss with another chance to get their 0 point in. Currently stuck on the sideline, but they get it to the center. The stack is quite deep, so they're isolating their throwers, but they're still keeping it moving. Now in the middle. Very static. Upfield, here we go. Okay, here we go, back in now. Disc flying over the top. Wagner brings it down and immediately gets it back into the middle, but something's happened there. Further down the field is an injury. The players keep playing, but there is an injury. I think when Sophia picked that one off, she went a bit too quickly. She's hurt her glute or hamstring there. She's taking one off. Sideline clapping her off. It was a great bit of D. This goes back to the pass after. The Germans with the disc right in the middle of the field. And upfield they have 2 cutters ready to go. With the injury now replaced, we can continue. This should be on 0. Yep, coming in on 0. And we're in. Disc goes straight away to one of those cutters. Nice bit of isolation. Doesn't like what she sees down the line, but takes the second up the line option. And a deep shot straight away. Oh, and it's just too far. This wind playing havoc on the end of the stadium there. Swiss, a 3rd chance to put their offense in.
Lots of excitement down here under the sunshine as the stands opposite us start to fill up. Players packing away their tents and getting their camping gear wrapped up ready for the journey home, and then enjoying the sunshine and the atmosphere that the Windmill tournament brings. There's more entertainment this evening, but most of the players have finished their play. Low ball with the disc. It's a floaty one with the wind, and it just drops out of the sky. Wind catches it. It was on an edge as it was. Kusik swings the disc, and that was flying high as well. The wind blowing on our backs here in the commentary tower. Dumped back to the German 33. No real cuts to look at. Lots of pressure on the mark. Lots of pressure on the dump as well. This time the dump pressure's gone removed, and Phillips goes to ground to pick that one up. It's huge strapping on Phillips' leg, and the mistake from her. Disc too low to the ground, pushed away by the wind. Again, we see this crosswind blowing towards the stand and causing havoc because the stand gets in the way and it swirls on that far side of the pitch, but it's quite firm and solid on this side of the pitch. See the wind, not a good choice for a deep shot there. Into the wind, gets caught. And the German 55 player smacks that to the ground. Turnover for Germany. I imagine it's not going to be too much long before we see a timeout from one of these two teams. One more turnover maybe. Osakawa into the middle of that, but Kuzik sends it deep. Phillips chasing underneath. It's going to be near the back of the end zone. Phillips just keeps her feet in. Germany get a point. Fantastic play from the Germans, but so many turnovers in this win so far, David.
Yeah, I think both teams are just taking a little while to adjust that wind, and that last shot from Kuzik was what the Germans have been looking for all game, that very blady, around the cut sort of throw. We see a lot in the Japanese game where they throw into the same third, and I think that's what the Germans are looking for here, but it's harder with the wind that's coming across from behind us. A tight one so far. And I can just see the Germans changing their lineup. As we were talking to the captains beforehand, they were saying that the Germans are trying to make a very even team, making sure everyone gets lots of pitch time and equal pitch time so they can really build an all-round team. And that's something that I think is very, very interesting and very, very cool, actually. There's no reliance on big superstars. They want to make sure that everyone can do every position and can contribute to the team. Swiss now on offense.
Rancor with the disc for Switzerland. Laser shot down the field to Galanch. And back to Rancor again. Pivots, low to the ground. Rancor again, anchoring this handling line. Great solid discs. And sends a big shot up to the end zone. It's going to be caught sometime, or just drifting towards that sideline, being pushed that way by the wind, with the crowd appreciating the horizontal layout bid of 13 Veronique Mayor. And the Swiss players struggling to connect as clinically as the Germans have so far, but both teams being quite affected by this windy conditions that we're experiencing out here in Amsterdam. Germans getting it going again. Cut down the line. Meister, but a block. And the Swiss have got it on the line. Surely an opportunity to put this one and straight in. They're looking for a quick start. There's cutting. Rancor moving around. It's going to be a dump pass. It's going to float high, but plenty of time to bring that down safely. Swiss with the disc, 15 yards out, middle of the pitch. Sidearm to the reset. Cuts coming quickly, but well marked by the Germans, looking to remove the space. That disc well read by Rancor. She brings it down. Resets to the number 4 shirt of Katie. Across to 22, Lehman. And back to Katie again, looking to shoot it in. Low-handed, one-handed grab there to keep the disc alive. Swiss calm and cool. Rancor just eyeing up which shots available, sees the player with the back to her, and finally the disc gets in. Yeah, Yannick Galanch just connecting. Very good patience from the Swiss eventually there, calming their offense down, taking their time working around this German defense.
Rancor was an absolute anchor in that offense there. Up and down, she's just trying to get that disc back and keep the disc moving. The Germans applying a lot of pressure on that end zone, but well played Switzerland, keeping that disc, punching it in that bottom corner. Nice to see. And a very low turnover point now. I think both teams have keyed in, worked out the wind a little bit, and worked out their issues. The score, I believe, is 2-1.
We're just trying to find a way that we can consistently see a scoreboard. Oh, there's a scoreboard on the far side of the pitch. They've just put that on there. 2-1 is the score. Is that to the Swiss? No, just to the Germans, isn't it? Yeah. Well, we're just trying to sort out a few technical issues up here with our internet connection. We'd like to be able to talk to you. Via Twitter is our favourite means of communications, but there's a few other ways of getting in touch as well. Obviously the YouTube comment stream next to the broadcast that you're watching. It's one of the ways to get in touch. We don't always able to follow that. But Görner with the disc for Germany. The team in red looking to get an extra point. Moving up the pitch. Kappelmann. Wagners goes low. Manages to keep it alive. Pressure from the Swiss, but it's still moving now. The Germans keeping it going. Kappelmann again. Nice disc back to Wagner. Wagner to Görner. Görner's got space and time. She just drops it forward. Not quite. There was a shot more available in the end zone there for Görner, but she didn't take it. Germans still have it. Resetting around. Görner again. Just nice flowing. Görner's available, but she doesn't get taken it. The under-23s superstar from last year, being very involved in this point so far. But Wagner comes out. Back to Görner. The pink headband is everywhere. The number 17 shirt. I think we will see a lot of her this tournament and in the future as well. Kalfus back to Görner again. Görner back to Kalfus. The German stack is fairly static downfield. There's no options coming out of the stack. The stall count's getting higher, but it's a nice reset. And takes it down, double-handed into the end zone. Absolutely no mistake at all from Harms, the disc. Well received in the end zone. The Germans advancing at 3-1.
Yeah, some very nice patient offense there from the Germans. Some very key players of the under-23s are coming through. We were talking to the Germans before the game, and they said they've actually had quite a lot of turnover between EUC and this season, with about 50% of the team being new to the team, and in fact a couple of them said their first time on the senior team, which is awesome to see. But you can't tell when you look on the field. They're playing very patient and solid offense. The wind has died down a little bit, but I don't think that's part of the problem. I think both teams have just worked out their issues and have sorted out their throws. An interesting play that we saw at the beginning of that offense was a side stack where the Germans had isolated one or two cutters in the open lane, and it worked very well to get the play initially going and got the disc up to about halfway. But now the Swiss on offense.
And disc rising, you're listening to Sky's coverage from Windmill in Amsterdam. David Price and Tom Stiles, that's myself, with you all afternoon. Great low grab there, the disc from Rancor, a little bit lower than she would have liked to receive it. And moving it around to the far side of the pitch. 21 shirt of Lobel, back to Rancor again. Straight across the pitch. Oh, pressure from the Germans. And they've got a turnover. Going down that far side of the pitch towards the stand. Resetting, swinging it around. Niederert. Deep shot to the end zone. There's going to be pressure from the Swiss. Just enough pressure to get the turnover. Well read from the Swiss number 22. Helene Lehmann getting the turn for the Swiss. And can they advance back up the pitch now? Rancor for the Swiss in white. And trail the Germans 3-1 at the moment, despite looking like they've had a fairly even start to this game. Germans able to convert where the Swiss have been contained. And a big disc going up. There's going to be a fast running chase down here. She got enough time to reel it in, not quite. Getting away from Yannick Galanche there. And we see Rancor's disc skills are incredibly strong. Great backhand floating, but not seen early enough by the receiver. Germans advancing again. Phillips. Kalfel sends it down there, going to be floating. Plenty of time to read it in back of the end zone, but she just keeps her feet in, safely putting another point on the board. The Germans looking dominant so far. 4-1 is the score.
She actually did need to toe it in. I think the back of the end zone is the next line. That's very misleading. The tape lines are the actual end zone lines. But well played, Germany there. Took the shots on that were open. They were very unfortunate with the one before, but some great defensive pressure from the Swiss to get that turn. And again, they are unfortunate. It's a shame that they couldn't keep that disc. It was a lovely disc by Rancourt, but just her receiver wasn't quite quick enough. I'm liking what I'm seeing on the field. We're seeing a lot of host stack. It's nice little isolations. As I mentioned before, the Germans had a bit of side stack to get the play going. I think we need to see something change for the Swiss. They need to change something up, because I think the Germans have keyed in to their offense, and they got the block in that first turn. So they need to change something to get back in this game.
So the Windmill tournament reaching its climax today. 3 finals for you here on Skyed. Stay tuned all day. Myself, Tom Stiles, and David Price with you in the commentary box, and hoping you're enjoying the coverage wherever you are. The Swiss team now, once again. Hauser. Swinging back again. Germans giving them a bit of space. Not imposing too much. Now bringing it in slowly. Now making a bit of a space through the middle of the cup there. A bit of a poachy man here. A one-on-one defense, but giving them a bit of space. Trying to stop the long pass. Straight up force. Perrine. Covering. Going to be German pressure. Sweeps that out of the sky. The 14 shirt. High grab. Rosa Brockman. The Germans with the disc once again. Meister sends it deep, chasing it down, just beyond her. The wind catching the underside of that disc, lifting it beyond her grasp. The deep shot from Meister was almost perfection, but not quite this time. And again, we see the wind causing a few problems. In the middle of the pitch, you've got quite a lot of stand, which blocks the wind. At the sides of the pitch, the stand has got an open back, so the wind just continues up and through the stand. And so there's more wind in the end zones than there is in the centre of the pitch, and that's causing a few issues for the players trying to make that adjustment. Swings across. The Swiss just clinging on by her fingertips there, not a solid catch. Happy to swing it around. The Germans happy to let them swing it around at the moment. Just containing with a one-on-one defense. This big, wide, straight-up force. Not too close to the player. An interesting defense, and David will sure have a view on how this is working to contain the Swiss offense in a minute. And the Swiss moving it again, side to side, seemingly making no forward progress. They're up to the halfway point, but it's not quick, and they've been forced to make a lot of passes in this wind. The disc goes up now. Pressure underneath it from the Germans, but ripped out of the sky by the German defender. That's the risk when the disc is in the air for that long.
Yeah, and I think that's what the Germans were trying to force the Swiss to do by poaching off a little bit. They want them to take those deep shots, but they are actually quite tight upfield. It's almost like a half zone, half person defense upfield, and they want them to take those shots because the wind is going to pick up the disc and they can get underneath it. Germans on a bit of a miscommunication there, giving the Swiss a short field.
Swiss 5 yards from the end zone, jamming it in, and there it is. It's a quick point. Errors in the German offense, uncharacteristic, but they've given a point to the Swiss, and they'll take everything they can get at the moment. And the Swiss will use that opportunity to put the Germans back out on out and try and disrupt, get a turn here. Could be a key point in the game.
Yeah, that was very lucky for the Swiss there. They were under a lot of pressure, but lucky for them, there was a miscommunication by the Germans, who took it out. and gave him a short field. A lovely quick offense, one pass score, and they're about 2-4 down. Weather here has been very nice. We've had a lot of sun. In fact, yesterday I think it got up to 28 degrees Celsius for those watching in other parts of the world. And today is no different. We've got a bit more of a breeze today, which is refreshing, but not useful for the team, especially as Tom was mentioning around the end zones. It's very common for Windmill. We've got the women's final here, then the mixed final, then the open final. Here with Sky Magazine covering Windmill 2016. Germany women now on offense.
Gerner for Germany. Pivots low, and it's a completely different style of defense from the Swiss. Getting low, putting pressure on their offense, trying to take away all the shots they've got. Darting around. The Germans having to make 3 or 4 cuts before they manage to get that undercut free there. Really running hard to keep everything under pressure. Tight pressure from the Swiss. It pays off. Exactly what they were looking for. Put the German offense under pressure. That was the game plan. Make them uncomfortable. And now we can see Rancor with the disc in the middle of the pitch. Flowing disc forward. Deep shot available if she's got it. No, she hasn't. But they're advancing smoothly. Again, we see this German standing off. A little bit close for that one, but the Swiss still have it. Rancor cutting up the line. Available. Now, pressure. Again, we see a nice reset cut and a foot block from the Germans. Wagner getting her feet up. And the disc from the 18 shirt of Hannah Murray. Straight into the foot. Down to the ground. The Germans have it again. They're a strong side, this German team. Gerner. Disc across the pitch. Swiss pressure, but not enough to get a block on that. Rancor waving her hands around, trying to stop the German throw forward. Again, another hard cut from the Swiss, trying to stop this German offense, but they're flowing. They are prepared to take these discs, even though they're heavily marked in some cases. Shot into the end zone, gets looked at, gets ignored, and pressure from the Swiss. Managed to get a shot in the face. She's going to have to take a sub after that one.
Great D there, a bit of a face D. But I think actually what the Swiss are doing very well is they're shutting down the German reset. So you'll see the German handler will come back, not get it as they're going behind for reset, and therefore clogging the next reset. So the German thrower has to then look forward, and by that point they're already on stall 5, 6, 7, and there are fewer options coming in for them. So that's really good by the Swiss to just stop their resets.
Can they keep that sort of energy level and intensity up for the entire game, do you think? Oh, I guess time will tell. The Rancor with the disc. Moving it out to the side, a big disc going to go up. It's going to get caught in the wind. They're going to drift towards the stand pretty quickly. Has she read it? No, she's not read it.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of rush of blood to the head there. She was free probably a few steps earlier, and she could have taken it, but the wind just took it out of the air for her. Germany now pushing upfield.
Space on this side for Kappelmann. Kappelmann fakes down the line. Not really options. Swinging across the pitch. And the Germans trying to make space. Again, we see the hard pressure from the Swiss taking away the dump option. At this point, it's Gerner, but she's not taken away enough. She's been pushed back into her own end zone now. Really effective Swiss defense, taking away the forward passes, and a timeout call by the Germans, which is a smart move. They were clearly getting a little bit flustered by that hard Swiss defense. Sky Magazine's coverage of the Windmill tournament in Amsterdam. Myself, Tom Stiles, and David Price with you all day. 3 finals. We've got the women's kicking things off. The mixed is next, and we finish with the open final. And we've been very lucky to be supported by some wonderful sponsors. And you can see their logos. We're very appreciative for anybody who supports us, wearing our 5 shirts. Sky Magazine, pleased to be out here providing the streaming of this top quality European Ultimate. The Windmill tournament really is something special, combining a party atmosphere with the very highest level of elite European Ultimate and some world players. We've got a team in the mixed final, which we'll bring to you next, which is called Sock Game. Some of the best players from Seattle, and also some Russian ladies joining them. It's a very exciting mix-up, and it's great to see that sort of play coming over here. David, you've been playing on the pitches. What's the level of competition been like in the Open division?
It's been very fierce. I mean, we've got, as Tom mentions, many national teams preparing for the World Ultimate Guts Championships in London. And playing, I was playing for a club team, and I think half of our teams were national teams. We played Ireland, we played Sweden, played the Netherlands. And they're all, you know, almost ready to play in a couple of weeks. So it was very hard to sort of swim in that pool of big national teams. But we beat one of them. I was very proud to say we beat the Netherlands yesterday, which was great. But I'm very impressed by some of the other nations that we saw. Ireland in particular impressed me in how they've changed their squad from last year and been able to come together so well ahead of London. In fact, beating Great Britain yesterday in the quarter-final, the 1-8. Some would say that's a bit out of character, but I think they probably deserved it with a very strong start to the game. I think they went up 10-5 or so before the British brought it back to sudden death. And maybe they needed that. Maybe they needed to lose that game to have some preparation. But I'm very happy for the Irish to take that win. But yeah, back now with this game, we're out of the timeout, and the Germans on offense.
Straight away, a big shot deep, which is going to go straight to the ground, giving the disc back to the Swiss. I'm not sure what the timeout involved, but I'm pretty sure it didn't involve giving the disc straight back to the Swiss. And there was a deep cut, but the disc to it wasn't good. The Germans just not too close. Pressure on that cut. Absolutely storming through the German defender. Rancor again with the disc. Fakes low. Puts the disc around. And available again. She's always available because the Germans are poaching off, trying to clog the channels. Shot into the end zone. It's going to be towards the back. She's going to have to bid hard. She doesn't just lay out. The disc is towards the back of the end zone. The crowd looking for that launch. Looking for that horizontal grab. Real action now it would have been, but the disc goes too far beyond her. The Swiss turning it over again, giving the Germans another opportunity. Maybe this time they'll work what they talked about in the timeout. Very different styles of play, these two teams. At the moment, the Germans opting for a standoffish one-on-one defense, whereas the Swiss really tight, really close, really pressuring everything, especially the dump. Gerner, that's a great disc from Gerner, managing to spread the play from deep in her own end zone. Rock solid disc, and she's got wheels as well. The number 17 for Germany. Saw her under 23s last year. Rancor, and a pick has been called. A hand signal's being used, and it was in the middle of the stack. Gerner and her 36 shirt for Switzerland. It's back in again. Down the line to Kappelmann. Kappelmann back to Gerner. Gerner swings across, no hesitation, straight away with the disc. But pressure from the Swiss, taking away some of the options downfield. Again, they have to use the handlers to reset this disc. Now they're finding space. It's a running race between the two players in the middle of the park. Is going to be won by the German, you'd expect. It's coming back again. Gerner is available for the dump, but the dump is being marked out, and it has to be a deep shot into the end zone. It's a not particularly high percentage pass. It was just to gain yards on a high stall can, and the pressure from the Swiss is counting.
And there's an example of exactly what I was talking about earlier. The Swiss are really pressuring the Germans' reset so that they have to take on the more risky shots. And particularly going this way, from right to left, I think they're forcing them to throw onto the downwind side, so those flicks just die down into that corner. Doesn't mean that that they're having to pick up on that corner line, but if they're able to get to the middle there to their keystone handler, then it's fine. So here she comes again, back in number 24, and there's that poachy set from the Germans, trying to stop them, force them to hug. It's much more of a zone actually look now. I think it's something like an arrowhead. Upfield is man. It's just a very containing zone, but they've been able to break through the middle. Switzerland still using that break. Oh, lovely little find to number 36, and they're going to keep this momentum moving. Can they get it all the way into the end zone? Let's see, will she bid? Oh, I think she stepped out at the back. I kind of agree with the Germans here. She definitely stepped out at the back. That's very unfortunate. She was very free. She should have just towed it in. Oh, some lovely play from the Swiss. It's very, very unfortunate.
You get the feeling that the Swiss, while they're playing this well and generating these opportunities, they can keep up with the Germans, but the Germans have got that extra gear. They're not stretching themselves quite yet. They are being pushed hard by the Swiss, but the Swiss need to take those chances when they get them. Let's see if that can be costly. Big shot going up into the wind, but it's pressure underneath it from the Swiss. Great defense. Pulling that back. The Germans trying to exploit the deep game. If they're being closed out underneath, and a timeout's been called by Rancourt. An opportunity for myself and David to discuss the two different teams and the strategies they're using so far.
That's the second time now the Germans have just straight off the bat taken a deep shot, and I think that's because they're being fronted slightly. The Swiss are standing under, as we've already mentioned, to stop their resets, which means that it does push them to take those deep shots. And that one came off beautifully. Just a shame that the Swiss were able to catch up, and that's good defense by the Swiss. Not only are they fronting them, but they're also staying tight and getting that inside line to be able to beat them deep. In terms of how the Germans are playing defense, as we mentioned, is very different. They've had that zone look. They're trying to contain their handlers and cut out the outfield options by playing a bit more of a man set, which is very, very interesting and very different to the way the Swiss are playing. It's been a very long point here. We've had two timeouts in this point, one each, and I feel like the longer this point goes on, the more likely the Germans are to come out with it. Whilst the Swiss have had a couple opportunities, they're going to tire very quickly, and they aren't as. I think that there's a bit more depth in the German squad at the minute, but we'll see. I mean, I'm very happy for someone to prove me wrong. So the Swiss out ready with their, well, looks like an isolation on their number 9 and number 22. They're a bit deep. Germans taking their time, trying to get their matchups right. So no, they've gone into a standard 3-4. And it looks like the Germans are pushing them under. And we've got a bit of a poach on the third handler as well.
Yeah, Kappelmann really, the number 8, standing right in the middle of the lane, taking away the Swiss options. They're going to have to adjust and use that poach. That's it, pulling Kappelmann out of the way. Just enough to make the space. It was great work from the Swiss handler on this near side of the pitch for us. And Rancourt again spreads it, puts it deep. A bit of a jostle. Oh, unlucky from the Swiss. It was a great positioning from the Swiss receiver, just taking her German defender out of the way, getting a good bid on it, but the wind lifting the disc just over the receiving player. We're trying to bring you the names of these players as we can, but our internet connection up here in the tower is a little bit lacking. We're struggle on. Bring you the coverage that we can. Gerner with the disc, no problem remembering her name. Back to Wagner. Wagner back to Gerner, and the continuation cuts. This is a different style from the Germans. Harms back to Kappelmann. Kappelmann spreads it. The Germans still being forced back. Kalfuss now with a pressure from the Swiss, trying to take that disc away from Harms, who was heavily marked as she approached that. Swings it back. Wagner again, pressed back onto their own end zone, and every disc is getting hard cuts at it. Pressure from the Swiss pays off once more. They have the disc again. Now, can they convert it into a point? Let's see. The German defense has been so good, taking away all the unders, taking away the deep shots. But now there's a deep shot available. There's two going, but they've been well marked. Maybe the second deep cut took the extra pressure into the end zone. It didn't need to be there. Rancor available. Waits for it to come down. Takes it high. Pressure from Gerner, but not enough. Shot into the end zone. It's just picked off by the fast approaching German. Again, we see the Swiss desperately trying to get that final yard, but the foot speed of this German team is very impressive, closing down the options and taking away every shot they take. The deep game hasn't worked. The fast passing game hasn't worked. Again, a big disc going up. The wind is going to catch it. It's going to take it overhead. She's going to have to read it well. Beautifully read. Kept it in her eyes the whole way. Adjusted her feet. And Fischer brings that down to Kappelmann, to Gerner. Very impressive deep game. But that's a shot from Gerner. Rose in the wind over the head of Wagner. She approached it, giving the disc back to the Swiss again. The Swiss must be frustrated. They're getting the disc plenty of times, but unable to convert every time they've got it. The game is still at 4-3 despite the amount of possession both these teams have had. We're seeing an exciting game. Sorry, 4-2. And well read from Kappelmann. She stretches out to Harms. Harms looking to Gerner. Finds her. Looking at the deep shot. Gerner sends it. This time low, under control, into the wind, down. Oh, she had her hand there. She goes underneath that tape with her hands. It was a little bit beyond her, but I think that's the sort of deep shot we need to see more of from Gerner there. Less in the wind, more under control, into the path of the fast receiving German team.
That was a lovely shot there from Gerner. It's exactly what they needed. Nice and low, not letting the wind get under it. The Swiss now have gone into a vert stack. I think they're trying to just set themselves up, and yet again Rancor getting free down the line into the power position. Oh, and they go deep. Oh, and that's a much better shot from the Swiss. Only 2 yards out. Oh, what a cheeky flick, but the defense gets in at the last minute, yet again stopping that goal from the Swiss. Unbelievable, D.
Again, we see the foot speed of the Germans taking away the options as fast as they arrive, and lack of patience there from the Swiss 30. Florence just tried to jack it in there quick, saw her player approaching, need to be a bit more patient there. She'd done the hard work and a little bit of but she's going to try and get that bit again. She's trying to get it back for the team, but the shot deep is poor. He's trying to get that continuation cut, and the disc has rolled and kept on rolling all the way out the sideline. And the players out here in the heat running around for a good 5 minutes now. It's been a very long point, lots of turnovers, there's been a timeout as well. But pressure from the Germans, great read. Bringing it down, the 1-2 down the line, trying to make fast advantage before the Swiss get their tight defense set up. But pressure from the Swiss, not enough to get the turn. There's a talk about whether the disc was up or down. The players on the pitch, players on the sideline, hands up in the air, not sure whether it was up or down, and it's been called down. So great defense from the Swiss, putting the pressure on there. The Germans knew that defense was going to arrive. They tried to make a couple of quick passes to get it moving. But Swiss, again, 2 timeouts in this point. Rancor with the disc. Spreads the play. She's going to have to bid for it. No, didn't quite go down early enough or hard enough. Into the end zone. It's going to float high. Rancor putting pressure underneath it, but it's perfectly read by the German, who celebrates. They know what a big point that was. Pitch invasion from the team in red. Huge point. Swing of momentum goes the German way. 5-2. What a point we just saw there.
Yeah, it was an epic point, and some lovely, in the middle of there, some lovely play. I think it just became a bit of a marathon for who could punch it in. And actually, I think both teams would be very proud of the way they took that point. There was some smooth offense in the middle, but what was stopping it was both teams playing some very good defense. You saw some bids there from the Germans to stop the disc right on the end zone line, and some very close person marking. by the Swiss. We're doing one-on-one. We've had a bit of a discussion about this on Twitter, I believe. Barmasek saying they prefer person marking, and they got. We've heard many different versions, but I think one-on-one or man is person. Sorry, is acceptable. I'm going to keep getting it wrong, aren't I? One-on-one or person is acceptable. But the Swiss playing very good person defense. So now only 5-2. I'm not sure what time we're on. How long have we been playing for? So we're coming up to the end of the game now. We've almost had an hour. And it's just been some it's like two hard things coming towards each other. Very tight defense. Both teams just know each other so well that they can't get any little bits of space they need. Swiss trying to get back into this game, playing a bit of football on offense.
And the Germans not changing their defense at all. They've gone for this poachy one-on-one, but huge bid from Hosokawa, managing to get the block. The Germans are going to try and put this one in with a quick turn and burn. Hingst, Hosokawa cutting just short of the end zone. That great block from her, earning the Germans the disc. Can they put it in now? Patience swings it back. The Germans are fast cutting. The Swiss are managing to keep up with them. They know these players so well. Just coming out of the end zone, puts it in, and it's a score for the Germans, a 64 shirt. And that's a crushing blow. Having taken that big point, they then take another one straight after it, extend their lead to 4 points. It's difficult to see the Swiss coming back into this game now.
Yeah, being 4 points down is really hard, and with so little time now, they really need to get a couple blocks. Well, first they need to hold their offense, and then get a couple blocks. And what a fantastic block by Hosokawa there. She also was cutting like an absolute menace straight away. Wonderful play. So David Price and Tom Stiles here for Windmill 2016, Sky Magazine. The next game we have after this is the mixed final between GB mixed national team and the sock game sort of pickup team, I guess, with some Sockeye players and some Russian ladies and a couple other American ladies as well, with the commander of Ben Wiggins on the sideline as their coach.
Yeah, I was having a chat with the sock game crew yesterday evening in the sunshine. Very much in full effect in the party. Mr. Wiggins is sporting a very sartorial outfit. And his wife Heidi Marie is here as well. Great to see the senior American players enjoying the elite ultimates, the Swiss turning over again. Maybe the German pressure is finally cracking what has otherwise been a pretty solid handling performance. Ineffective in the last 10 yards, but other than that it's been pretty good from the Swiss, but not here. Le Berth. Pressure from the Swiss, but not enough to stop it from getting to Nikki Prien. Poole now. Meister. Lieberth again. 41 shirt. Looking to Meister for the reset and takes it. Swing to the far side. High disc over the top. The Swiss are going to try and bring that down. No need. It was beyond all the players. And chatting to the German coaches earlier, they've separate this team into 3 lines that almost always play together. Occasionally they have subs, but so you'll see this group of players playing on the same line, get that familiarity, and that's the strategy that they'll take into Worlds. They're also very, very clear about the fact that there is no sort of favoritism in terms of pitch time. They're making sure that all players get a lot of time on the pitch, make sure they use all their legs equally so that the top players don't get exhausted. Perfect disc into the path of the Swiss. Huge put downfield. Can they now convert it into a point? High, stall count getting high. Swing for the reset. It's just beyond. And now we're starting to see the nerves creep in. Having done the hard work with that deep shot, collecting it beautifully in front of her, they give it back to the Germans and they advance again from the far side. Prien has gone deep, and has a call been made on the pitch, and Meister has suddenly realised, hands in the air, and a pick has been called on the far side, and Nikki Prien has suddenly found herself, oh no, it was a call on the throw. Wow, that was a long time ago. Says it was a call on a foul on the throw, which was still completed. Wow, we've gone back a long way, David. What's your view on that?
That's a really strange call to me. I think she called violation, which I don't quite understand, maybe a fast count. But either way, the completion down here, I would say play on. I can't hear what she's saying, which is a shame, because I'd like to know actually what that call is in its entirety. But we've gone back, and both players seem happy with the call, so we're back with Swiss offense. Just exactly.
Same shots again. This time there's 3 German players reading it, but the Swiss has got it. Oh my goodness, what a grab! And the German player's gone down hard underneath her, and I hope she's okay, because that looked really uncomfortable as she went over. But the Swiss grab coming underneath both of those German players. I think the German will have hurt herself by landing on top of the legs. I'm sure Mike has got a replay for her there, but she's gone down hard. Incredible receiving from the Swiss, but the all concerns are with the German player. Make sure she's okay. She's not moving really out there, and she's rolling over now. But I think she's just a bit concussed or winded. She's hit her head on the floor as she went down there. Mike. Now, yeah, from the replay. So it's Helen Grosser-Brockmann, who is the German player walking off now. One of the German under-23 stars have joined this team. They picked up 4 players from the U23 squad. And, Grosser-Brockmann was a real superstar on that squad. So the Swiss, having earned this possession with a great grab, see if they can put it in this time. Faking around, looking for space, looking for a shot into the end zone. It's not a great shot into the end zone, but it is perfectly weighted to the back. And Isabella Gutting, and the disc was from Veronique Mayor.
Yeah, after that fantastic grab, you could see a lot of franticness going on. It's very hard sometimes to come out of a stoppage or stop a play and find the flow you want. You could see a lot of people getting a bit too close to the disc and making it hard for her to get a disc out, but luckily there was a poach under, and the deep shot was on. Swiss now punching their card in. Down 3-6. I don't think we've got much time left. I think we've probably got... Oh, we can't quite see. Yeah, we've had an hour now. So we've got another 25 minutes or so to go. So the Swiss do have a chance to get back in. If they can use this really tight defense and get a few more turns, preferably a short field, just to be able to punch a couple quick goals in and not have too many long points out for their D-line, I could see them getting back into this game.
Our announcer for the Windmill tournament, Bicycle Mark, is getting the crowd on the far side of the pitch excited about the remainder of this game. There'll be the neutrals at Ultimate Tournament always tend to go for the underdog, which is undoubtedly the Swiss team here. The Germans have dominated this women's division, and I'm sure they'll be having high hopes of being a force to be reckoned with at the World Championships in London later on. A well-organised and a well-drilled outfit. Hosokawa taking that disc high. And a disc for Conti making that turn low, attacking throws. It's going to be in the wind. It's going to be hanging. There's pressure under this from the German. Who's got the position? Just a little dab off the top from the number 59 shirt.
It's actually quite nice, a bit of cutting straight off of that turn. The number 30 was isolated, so took her player deep, sorry. One step in and jabbed under. It was a very nice gainer, but unable to continue the play. Germans now back on. Sophie Wagner on the disc. Oh, and overshoots Hosokawa, and it gives it straight back to the Swiss, now on the halfway line. Rancor on the disc. Gets it round. A huge fake. wants the inside and finds it. Swings it straight back to Rancor. Another fake there for that flick. Beautiful backhand round to the side there. Keeping the disc with the handlers. Some nice little play here. Doesn't like what she sees upfield. Oh, no, she makes Osakawa take the fake. And here we go into the corner for another goal for the Swiss. 2 in a row. 4-6.
Yeah, the crowd and the neutrals rising to the resurgent Swiss team, putting it to the Germans and finally capitalizing on the German mistakes. There's been errors throughout this performance. The disc has been in Swiss hands for an awful lot of the game, but up until now they've not been capitalizing on it. If they can change that around, they'll put this the team in red under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, the last few points, the Swiss have stepped up their offense, and when they've got it in their hands, they look much more confident. Rancor just holding them steady, keeping that disc moving, keeping the defense guessing. The team in red are going to have to dig deep now to hold on to their lead. They're playing well, but there's just a few little errors, like unforced errors, a drop in the middle of the pitch there, an overthrow in the middle of the pitch again, giving the Swiss the disc back. Very exciting game, and the crowd all coming in now from the campsite or from their games finishing, enjoying this wonderful matchup between the Swiss and German national teams. Germany now on offense. Nice little pull. Gerner in the middle, the rock of the German offense. Ooh, nearly gets a turnover to the Swiss. It's very tight defense still by the Swiss. Germans on the far sideline. Fakes. Takes the line shot. Again, another bit of pressure. Maybe a bit of an overbid. Oh, and there was a poach in the middle there by the Swiss. Another chance to break, and a deep shot's on if she wants it, but she doesn't like the look. She goes to the middle, swings it all the way across. Germans are just sitting off their man. There's no player, lots of players free in the unders. And again, Switzerland up to the break mark, goes all the way around and deep. Can she make it? Oh, in and out of the hands. A lovely bid, but unable to hold on to it.
Yeah, Swiss pressure paying off, getting the turn. Again, if they can just make this final connection into the end zone, they're going to put the Germans into a real situation here. The Germans really had all the momentum for an early part of the game, scoring that key point at 4-2 that put them ahead. And if they can keep this disc moving, the Germans are going to re-establish a strong position in the game, but the Swiss are playing great frisbee at the moment. And that's Wagner with the disc, and a pick being called further down pitch. Just Kappelmann. Kappelmann. Swings it to Wagner. Wagner down the line. 85 shirt just darting around there. Puts it down the line again. It's going to be Gerner trying to read it and keep her feet in. Pressure from the Swiss, but Gerner's got eyes on the disc. Locked on, her toes just inside the back of the end zone. And the canny number 17 scores another one for the Germans. 7-4. They're keeping this game at arm's length from the Swiss right now.
Yeah, the pressure here from the Swiss is a very high intensity. The Germans just sucked it up there, found the open shot, punched in at the back of the end zone. The current score is 7-4 to the Germans. I do feel like the momentum is with the Swiss. They're getting the turns. They just need to take their options and take their time moving up the field. The MC on the far sideline is trying to get the supporters behind them. And a bit more of a shout for the Germans, actually, surprisingly. coverage here from Tom Stiles and David Price for Sky magazine. Switzerland looking for a hold.
Yeah, they absolutely need this point, the Swiss. Germans again with their poachy one-on-one defense, giving them a bit of distance and a bit of clearance. Again, we see that mark is not on the disc, it's 3 or 4 meters away, and a pick has been called further down the field. The Swiss having a discussion about this for a while. A long discussion here on the pitch. Nicky Preen tapping it back in. Ullmann with the disc sends it out to the far side, looking for options underneath. Pressure from the Germans. Yeah, easily read by Thyssen. Comes forward, looking for the dump, finds it. To Meister. Meister down the line, wasn't sure if it was for Niedert. She's let it go beyond her. Preen coming to cover. The Swiss 36 shirt. It's well kept alive by Ullmann. Disc across the floor. Means it's the Germans that have the advantage again. Thyssen to come in to pick up for the team in red. Marked closely, trying to block the lane, but it's going to manage to find it to Nieder. It takes the deep shot. It's going to be perfectly read. Oh, look at that. Nicky Preen into acres of space. The disc is perfect. The sort of clinical German offense that's been missing in this game so far. They lead the Swiss 8-4. And that's half, so we've got a bit of time. Tell you a little bit more about the tournament that we've seen here. If you've never been to the Windmill, it really is this very special event. Teams from all over the world here. Israel, Colombia, the USA have sent about 4 different squads. Great Britain send squads. There's teams from all over Europe. And it's a very, very high quality tournament. The tournament are lucky enough to get applications from far, far too many teams, as we now see the crowd swaying in the wind, having a bit of a stretch, make sure they keep their circulations. Last thing we want is a crowd getting DVT from a long day in the stands. So they're up on their feet and they're going to stretch down.
This is actually a Windmill tradition. Every year the MC will tell them how to stretch. So just so you can say, don't want a DVT in the stands. It's been a very interesting game, actually. I was fully prepared for the Germans to come out and take a very strong lead, and they did initially. But the Swiss have come back, and they're showing their grit and determination not to let the game run away from them. And while the score is 8-4, I feel like it's a lot closer. It's a bit cliche, but the score doesn't really resemble the standard of play, I'd say. The Swiss have had a lot of disc in hand, just not been able to finish off that last few points in the red zone. If they can remove some of those errors and make sure of some of their goals, you can definitely see this going down to the wire.
So the two teams back in this half. You're watching the women's final from the Windmill tournament in Amsterdam, the finest European and World Ultimate tournament outside of world events. Swiss and German contesting this team. These teams both heading to Worlds in not too distant future. 2 weeks away now before the teams arrive in London. A bit of tap. And I had to watch her feet as she went to get the disc, and as she was watching her feet, the disc bobbled out of her hands and went to the ground. And I know the Germans have set their lines to have equal pitch time, but this line particularly seems to have more pitch time than anybody. Wagner looking at Gerner up the line, shoots. She knows exactly where the receiver's going, but it's going to be a bobble off the top. Not a great disc, caught in the wind. It was meant for Gerner, advancing up the line, but didn't connect with her. The Swiss managed to read that nicely. Poach into the lane, get the block. The Swiss moving around the back. Swings across. Pressure from the German defense, who are now going much closer with their mark. Well, not all across the pitch, but in some places managing to find the gap through there. Big disc going to be floating. This is going to be well read by the Swiss. Go up. Oh, just had a hand to it. Not enough to get the grab, though. An error. Gerner looking to... has there been a pick in the middle of the pitch? Someone's got their foot stamped on, and she's going to have to take a sub now. The Swiss number 14. That's Isabel. She wanders off. I'm sure she'll be fine. She's replaced. Well, the Germans have had an injury sub as well. Is that Tisson? Taken a sub? Oh no, is it Wagner? Wagner's taken a sub off, number 23. And she's been replaced. Sends a big disc, shooting long, going to be floating high. It's going to be too far ahead of her, surely. Yes, it is. Kappelman chasing that one down, but the disc was a little bit too big. The crowd cheering for a big layout, but this AstroTurf is not to be laid out on lightly. You are going to scrape some skin off. Second time of asking the Swiss keep that disc alive, but they're riding their luck a little bit here. Now they're advancing a bit more smoothly. The Germans letting the spaces open up a little bit. Weary legs out there, chasing down, and this team, this line particularly, has done an awful lot of work. Maybe the other lines need to be given a bit more pitch time. This particular one has seen an awful lot of action in this game so far. The Swiss still have it. Not advancing particularly smoothly at the moment, but still keeping the disc alive. And again, a mistake with the receiving. The disc wobbling around, fast hand, probably a little bit off balance. Disc behind her. Gerner with the disc for Germany now. Sidearm across. Moving it smoothly up. Deep shot again. Pressure from the Swiss is going to be in the air long enough to get a D onto that. It is. Both sides not able to complete these long passes. And the wind causing havoc.
Yeah, it's the second time now the Germans have taken on a bit of a speculative deep shot. They're doing really well in moving the disc from one sideline to the other, but taking their shot on the other side has been their downfall. And the Swiss, I think, are fully prepared for it and bringing them down. The Swiss, on the other hand, are trying to just take on some trickier options. That turnover just there was an inside break that maybe she didn't need to force, and the receiver just wasn't prepared for it. So both teams finding some issues that they need to work through. Germans are now with this poach set again on defense, and there we go. It pays off straight away, giving them the short field. 11 on the disc. Has no options upfield, so has to reset to Gerner. Gerner swings straight away. Lovely bit of play there, keeping the disc moving. Gerner gets the reset back again. Doesn't like what she sees across the field, but goes inside. Now up with the brick mark. Oh, Gerner, lovely cut. Doesn't give them the disc though. Now, out the side of the field, outside the end zone by 1. And goes down the line. And it's a goal for Germany. The first score out of half goes to the Germans with 9-4. A bit of a long one there, but the Germans just held on to it long enough to push it in.
Yeah, continued German success in this one. The Swiss, we're chatting to the Swiss captain earlier, Angela Ullmann. Sorry, it wasn't Angela who we were talking to, was it? No, it was Angela. Who was it we were talking to earlier? Yeah. It was Angela, wasn't it? Number 7. It was number 7. I was chatting to Angela earlier about the team and the fact that they know this German squad so well. A lot of them they've grown up with. A lot of them they play with at club level. And that knowledge is useful, but it's still hard to put it into practice when the squad that you're playing against are playing so well. They have so much depth. No weak links in this German squad, and that will see them well. They've got a big squad, well organised into these 3 separate lines. And they probably have names, Alpha, Beta and Gamma. I don't know what they're called. I am just making stuff up. Rancor for the Swiss. Nice disc. We've seen some fantastic discs from Rancor. She's been rock solid at the back. And again, we see her, those first 5 yards are electric. Gets free and puts up solid, sweet discs again and again. Cutting up the line now. Making herself get out of the way. And terrible shot across. Too low. Away from the Swiss. Giving the disc back to the Germans now. Nindert putting that disc too low. Both teams making poor choices with their shots and poor execution with them as well.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate. I thought both teams there were looking, well, particularly the Swiss were looking very solid, keeping the disc moving. Rancor making some fantastic cuts, and there she does exactly the same again, gets down the line. I think someone's calling whether it's up or down. The sideline saying, and the crowd saying it's up, but Rancor is saying that it's down, and oh, I feel like she might be robbed there slightly.
Well, it didn't look anywhere close to down from over here.
She's quite a small player, and it's easier for her to pick it up off the floor. So I think like it was low, but I don't think it was that low. And the whole sideline also said it was up.
Yeah, it was the sideline closer to it than we are. They were very clear about their opinion. It was a unanimous point towards the sky. It's a shame the sideline don't get a vote in these big tournament finals. It'd be quite a much more interesting game if they, if it was their say. It'd be booing and cheering. It'd be like the gladiators pit. Yeah. And the disc has gone back. So was it a foul on the throw? Okay, so a contested down call. And the Swiss with an opportunity to see if they can stop the rot here and prevent. Oh, but pressure from the outstretched German 94. Looks to wait. Kizik weighing up the options, trying to jam it in, but patience. Rancourt coming to cover that option again. Dropping off. Low hands. Managing to get it out of there, though. Hinkst. She gets the disc back again now. Fakes. Kuzik. Down the line. Into the zone. Oh, a little bit behind the receiver, but she manages to stop her run quickly, drop the hand low, grab onto it. Fast hands, 10-4, they lead. 6 points. They are clear of the Swiss, the Germans in dominant form in this women's final here at the Windmill.
94 there with a lovely bid on Rancourt. I'm guessing that the Germans are really locking down now on Rancourt as they know she's a key member of the offense. And that's exactly where that bid came from. She was close enough to just get her hands down, get off her feet, and get that block. Germans looking very commanding now. Swiss just don't seem able to keep the disc alive for long enough to get it in the end zone. But the sideline and the crowd getting behind them. They want to see more goals. They want to see more game time to make sure that this game goes on for as long as it must.
That's not worked. It's showing up, but Swiss with the first couple of passes of this O point, seeing if they can get themselves back into this one. Nice high grab, 2 hands, brings that one down. No deep shot available, and the wind is making the deep shots quite risky anyway. Oh, his disc was a poor choice, rising. The wind not bringing it down. Blustery near that stand. There's all sorts of swirls going on. The disc can do very unpredictable things as it is. Meister cutting into the end zone. 2 German players arrive at the same time, but it's Nikki Preen who makes the grab and takes the high fives of her teammates as they extend their lead further to 11-4. Now it's looking like an extremely one-sided game, which at the start, certainly the Swiss were having great success with holding this German team at bay. But once the team in red have got the wheels rolling, very difficult to see anybody stopping them at this pace.
Yeah, I think those early points of very tight defense have taken their toll on the Swiss a little bit. Have lost their focus slightly in the second half. That turn there was, I would say, a bit more receiver error, but it's just a bit high from the throw and just tapped out of her hands. Wasn't quite expecting the wind to bobble it in such a way. They just need to get their heads in, focus, make sure they can punch their O-line in, O-points in, sorry, get them back out on D and apply the pressure that we saw in the first half. If they can get that on, that really might disrupt the Germans the way they want to. Swiss now on offense, and they've got to have a hold here.
Yeah, even if they can't win this game, this is key learning time for the Swiss. When they are under pressure, their heads are down. There's going to be situations in London in 2 weeks' time where they're in this sort of role and they need to be able to fight their way back into games from this sort of situation. So they'll be using this as a learning experience, and they're going to find no tougher opposition in London. Well, they may find a couple of teams with tougher opposition in London than the Germans, but not many. Big shot going deep, pressure from the Germans, number 44, reading it perfectly, knocking out of the sky, and that's Harms. Great read on that. She had a body position the whole time. Saw the disc coming down above her head, just took it out of the sky. The Germans with it once more. Kappelmann, oh, big fake. I bought into that one. Wagner past Harms. Wagner darting around, trying to get herself free. That's been well marked out by the Swiss. Rancourt going down into the giving chase to the 85 shirt for the Germans. She gets her hands low and tries to stop pass down the line, but Gerner so effective with that handler cut. Gets a bit of a blow on the shoulder, one a stamp on the foot as well. I'll slow her down. Angela Ullmann with the close attention, stopping the German youngster. One to watch for the future is Anna Gerner, who was in the under-23 squad last year and straight into this full women's team for the Worlds. She's on the disc again now, receiving it from Kappelmann. Kalfus shot to the end zone, well read by the Swiss number 21, who sets off at a pace, but Ullmann's coming to the disc now. No options apart from the swing. Gerner apologizing, maybe a foul by Gerner. The two of them keeping each other in close company. Gerner looking, it's nice work from the Swiss, making themselves available. Cut down the line. Rancourt again, great fast feet. And a travel called. Scraped her foot and she threw it. It's called by the Germans. And she's curving a run as she slowed down. Disc is back in. Rancourt with it. Deep shot available. And a violation's been called over on the far side. What was that called for, David?
I think there was no countdown, so they didn't tap it in, and neither of those players knew what was going on. Because even though the travel wasn't a stoppage, they had stopped, so it becomes a stoppage. There's a bit of discussion going on. And they're back with Rancourt now.
So all the players back into this loose gathering of players. Not really a stack, not really a horizontal. There's two handlers for the Swiss. The Germans generally marking the under, taking it away, but they've not managed to stop the player on the far side of the pitch. She's Mandy Lobel getting the block, huge block for the Germans. Wagner. Shot into the end zone, and then another bid from the Swiss. And the story of this game has been the Swiss team's ability to stop the Germans from scoring, but not do anything when they've got the disc themselves. And they're going to walk away from this one so frustrated. They've had so much possession.
Yeah, in that last point, I think they wanted to score a bit too much. Everyone streamed through and left the person with the disc just standing there by themselves. They had no reset, and that meant that the defense knew exactly what was coming, and hence the point block, which was fantastic from the Germans. And here we go again, a bit of isolation, and the deep shot has to go. Germans read it, back on German offense.
Kalfus, Gerner. A pick has been called. Hand signals not being used by these two teams. We've had varying degrees of use of the hand signals. More and more it's happening, and we'd love to see more of it happening. Rancourt putting that disc under a lot of pressure, but Wagner takes it and takes it high. Another great grab from the 85 shirt. Wagner cutting into that space, but and that disc is going to go low, brings it up off the floor. Wagner now down the line to Kalfus, curves her run slightly as she slows. Nothing wrong with that, according to the Swiss. And a bit of bashing on the shoulder. A pick has been called further up the field as well. And the two Swiss number 21. You can see the mixed teams ready for the final. They'll be coming up straight for you on Sky. Coverage all day from the Windmill tournament here in Amsterdam under the beautiful sunshine. The crowds gathered. And Sky happy to be bringing you this action. Wagner into the end zone. It's an easy score. The Germans extend their lead. This demolition job they're doing of the Swiss now. Again and again, the Swiss turning the Germans, getting the disc, but the Germans taking it back off them and putting it in. And a little bit of light entertainment for everybody here during the women's final. A gentleman has decided to depart with his clothes and take a bit of a run.
Not a fan. Anyway, we'll ignore some fool on the pitch. It looks like the Swiss have called a timeout. We can also see GB Mixed behind us. You can't quite see it on the stream, but just behind us here, GB Mixed are warming up. A very big squad. Got something to prove against the Sock game, who they played earlier in the tournament and lost to. Coming out of the timeout, Switzerland really need to lock down on their offense and get it in. Go back to their structures that were working potentially. They're relying a lot on the likes of Rancor and other handlers, which is not on this point. So let's see if they can maybe be a bit more expansive, use the width rather than resetting and not swinging, and punch this one in. They really need the points now.
Yeah, the atmosphere building. The stadium across from us is getting fuller and fuller. There's very few free seats left. Be quite an atmosphere this afternoon. This women's final. The Germans absolutely dominant now and putting pressure on every single pass. It has to be a deep shot because there was no options to reset. And the German receiver, or the German defender, reading that well. The wind is coming across the pitch from the camera side towards the stadium, and that's creating an awful lot of turbulence on the stadium side of the pitch, and it varies as you go up and down. Hosokawa finding a compatriot further down pitch. Hosokawa again. And Phillips now. Kuzik. Hingst. Back to Kuzik. Hosokawa. Lovely cutting from the Germans here into the end zone. Nice and easy for the team in red. They extend their lead again. Clinical, great pressure at the start of that point. The Swiss, no answer to it.
Yeah, the Germans taking exactly what the Swiss are giving them. Being very expansive, looking for the breaks, and cutting hard. So that wasn't a timeout before. I don't know what the Swiss were doing on the halfway line, but there's definitely been a Swiss timeout here. Germans going to look for shade. Swiss cuddling it up, getting some water on. It's a very good time for that. With only a couple more points left in the game, the Swiss really need to get some more points to finish this game off respectfully. It's Tom Stiles and David Price here with Guide Magazine. Coverage of Windmill Tournament 2016. For the first time I've been at Windmill, we're shooting towards the stadium, giving us a good view of all the fans watching here live. Probably a bit further away from the loudspeakers as well, which is handy for us commentators. Don't have to scream over loud music and such. Swiss O-line having a bit of a race to the line. And they'll now really want to punch this in as they haven't scored after half.
Yeah, the mental energy and the pace at the Swiss were throwing German way first thing this morning, or the first part of this game, has subsided a little. And the German clinical skills, energy and depth, which is so impressive in this team, has started to take away all the options. Amazing, thank you. Just a second. So, the Swiss swinging it towards the stadium, back into the middle of the pitch. And managing to make a couple of safe passes up the middle of this field. Pressure from the Germans, just enough pressure from the outstretched fingertips of Lieberth. Gets the touch. Goal in for Germany now. Meister cutting. Germans looking for a deep shot into the end zone. Running underneath it. Oh, bringing it down. And a backup was there even if she hadn't done. Beautiful work from the Germans. Absolutely dominant.
Just a bit of shout out from Patrick Forcamper, watching in Dubai. He's saying buttery Big Mac commentary boys, loving it, and tags us all. Thanks very much, Mike. It's nice. Sorry, Patrick. It's nice to hear you watching again, and I hope you can tune in for the other games today, and of course the Worlds. The game is now 14-4 to the Germans. Game to 15.
Yeah, game to 15 regardless. That's always the cap. And the Swiss trying to spread it. Germans containing. We've known, even despite the wind, we've not seen any zone defense. Germans always playing this one-on-one. A little bit of a poach, apart from Fischer in the 85 shirt marking. She's had a fantastic game, great grabs, great foot speed, and a real battle between her and Rancor. The two of them matching up very well indeed. And Swiss players trying to find a gap through this German defense, just beyond, but well read from the backup. Swiss looking for a quick jab in, but the Germans flood the end zone, taking away the options. Patience from the Swiss, trying to keep this disc alive. Over the head, 3/3 time, 4th time it grabs. More fortunate than planned. Gerner had a sweep underneath that one as well. The bottom of the disc is definitely clean. And the crowd celebrating with the Swiss as they take their 5th point of the match. But the Germans have 14 and just managing to keep the margin of victory below the double figures will hardly feel like success at the end of this one for the Swiss.
Everyone loves a bit of luck, and that was wonderful. I enjoyed that. Germans did very well, though, to contain on the front of that end zone. You'll be very happy to know that we now have internet, so if you want to tweet us, please do, at David_Price and at Tom Styles, or using the hashtag Windmill 2016. We'll probably pick up your message. I've just seen a tweet from my fellow teammates back in England watching the stream on the train. I don't know where they're going, but on the train somewhere, listening to the soothing tones of Tom Styles. And I don't know how you describe me, but the tunes that come out of my voice, from my voice.
So if you want to describe David's voice for us, hashtag Windmill 2016. If you put the hashtag, describe David's voice. I would say it's I think that the reason people would listen to David is the analysis and the strategy, the calm, soothing technical tones. Hosokawa with a high disc, brilliantly brought down by a German counterpart. Jabbing it into the end zone, Hosokawa continues a run, and they win the game. They win the Windmill 2016 final. The women's division has been taken by Germany. Completely dominant throughout this tournament. No team has really got close to them. And the team in red roll on to Worlds after a very strong performance here in Holland. Swiss, despite some really early effective pressure against the German team, they could not convert enough of their own possessions. They managed to get the disc off the Germans plenty. Their defense was intense and effective, but their offense and their flow upfield, certainly in the last 20 yards, was just lacking that final touch. And they will be disappointed, having only taken 5 points off Germans despite some really big pressure early in this game. David, quite a spectacle, and we're looking forward to the next 2 games as well.
Yeah, that game was, I think the scoreline doesn't really reflect the game, actually. It was a lot closer than, I know we say that a lot in Ultimate, but the play was a lot tighter than the score, and I think just the Germans were way more clinical when they had the disc. But yeah, we're very much looking forward to the next game with GB Mix coming up and a SOC game. Join us again in a couple of seconds for the next game here at Windmill 2016.